Well, it's been a interesting, fun, exciting week. We got two matches with two victories on it. One of them in the league, one of them in the Open Cup, and it's got to keep going. We got to keep this going. I know some people aren't enjoying the amount of opportunities and attacking opportunities we're getting, but hey, that's their thing. We got the points. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the first and only podcast, actually, first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. In this episode, I got some help from Dylan. Dylan, how are we doing, Dylan?
I'm well. I'm confused as to why you acted like it was a surprise that I'm here, but I am back. I am back from the Great White North and here to chat some footy.
I'm always surprised when I get to see you on this wonderful show that we've started back in 2018. We're like on year 8, Dylan, pretty much. Crazy.
I was just thinking about that about 2 minutes ago. And yeah, who knows what year 8 has in store, but I'm excited for year 10, where we make a swift turn to be evil podcasters.
Evil podcasters. Well, let's bring on the person that likes to be the heel of podcasting and everything else. That's Brad in Vegas. Brad, how we doing?
I actually I prepared to say something, but then you said the nicest thing and said that I'm an evil person. So that's really touching and flattering, and I appreciate that.
All right. Joining us also with that, Larry.
Sorry, I'm still laughing at Brad's comment. You called me evil. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's a start to the show, boys and girls. Let's go.
He's always talked about he likes being a heel. He likes the heels when it comes to WWE and wrestling stuff. But we've got a lot to talk about, so we can't mess around here. Let's get right into the action. The week for Orange County, this past week for Orange County, opened up with an Open Cup match, an OC derby against the amateur side from Laguna United out of the UPSL. Laguna United qualified for the second straight year last year. It was not a beautiful outing for them against the LA Galaxy 2 team. I believe it's Ventura something or other. Who knows what they are? Who cares?
But who cares? Yeah.
Against Orange County, they put up a better fight. I will say that. First and foremost, we all got to do this. I know for those of you that watch the stream or were there live, props to the Laguna fans for making that. I know it was a lot of the youth club players and their families, but they took up almost that whole side of the stadium, and they were loud throughout the match. Right, Larry?
Absolutely. I will tip my cap if I'm wearing a cap to them. They showed up. They showed out. They made noise. They were having a good time. They were enjoying their club. And to the Laguna United club itself, you know what? I thought that they played a decent game. I mean, for a team that's a group of amateurs with a high school senior as their goalie, I think all in all, it was a good night for Laguna.
That's the beauty of the cup like this, right? It's you got these players that, let's be honest, a lot of them probably will never get an opportunity to play at the USL Championship level. There might be some in their future, but a lot of these players are probably looking at college commitments, or if they're some of the alumni, they're just coming back to play some soccer against a good team. So it's a good experience for them. For Orange County, it was an even more quality experience for them because they got to see the ball hit the back of the net multiple times, which we have not yet seen all season. And it gave them an opportunity to try and maybe build some momentum for hopefully what happens throughout the season and maybe to make a nice deep cup run. Dylan, what were your thoughts on Orange County's performance against Laguna United in the Open Cup match?
think I've mentioned it in passing a handful of times this year, and just even in the past, we have a tendency to play down to the level of our opponents, which meant that we were very susceptible, excuse me, to playing like an amateur side. We've seen this before when we've played actually countless amateur sides, and we've taken some beatings, and sometimes we've needed some fortune to actually get out of these matches. For us to actually just put 3 past them and put it to bed relatively early was nice, especially with, as you mentioned, a little bit more fanfare maybe in the stands than usual. So it was good. It was a good little run out for the club. Good practice on us scoring more than 1 goal, which hopefully we can figure out how to do that in the league soon. I want to propose a question to the 3 of you that are here with me. Are we having LAG as the abbreviation in the scorebug for Laguna United? I feel like that's not another prominent team in the region who pretty famously uses LAG. No?
Yeah, but I don't like ML dollar sign, so I'm okay with them using it.
This is where I think ultimately you should be able to do 4 letters when it comes to soccer. I know 3 is the typical traditional for US sports, but I mean, you just add that extra letter, you can put LUFC, and maybe they get confused with Leeds United. Who knows?
I mean, it seems less. I'm completely derailing the show for my own interest here, but I don't think anyone's going to confuse them for Leeds when they're wearing black, but also wearing LUFC across the front of their shirt. Anyway, this is just this is the most pressing thing to me about this match.
Well, they're also not going to be confused with Laguna or with Leeds playing in a U.S. Open Cup match in Orange County, California.
Andy,
welcome.
Yeah, hi. Dylan, to your point, yes, when I was watching the replay, it did take me a second for my brain to reconcile. LAG was not. Yeah, you weren't the only one that thought it was a little odd.
Yeah, it feels wrong, and I don't think it's any fault of their own. This is something U.S. soccer has to do better. So let's bang that drum nice and early.
Maybe they pay per letter, so they're trying to save a little bit of money and not have to pay for that 4th letter. Let me ask Brad a question regarding this match. And, Dylan, you derailed it so much. I don't even remember what I wanted to ask Brad, so I'll just think of a question on the fly here. Brad, what were your thoughts on Orange County? Do you think they should have done more? Obviously, when you look at Laguna United last season against Ventura County, I think it was like 7-0 or something like that. I was at that match. It was not pretty. Do you think Orange County didn't do enough against the amateur side?
No, I think they did actually quite a lot. And, major shout outs. Larry covered him already, but Jacob Estrell made a bunch of good saves in net for Laguna. I didn't realize he was only a high school senior until he just said so, because he was playing a lot older and a lot more mature than that during the game. Beyond that, 3 goals is really good still. Like, let's not lie. 3 goals is still good. We're still trying to find our footing as a team. The goalie for Laguna United made a lot of saves. And honestly, some of those were a little fluky too. So it could have easily been 2-0 and I still would have been satisfied with how the team played.
Let me just say this. A big moment of the night for the goalkeeper for Laguna United, Jacob. The County Line Coalition gave him a chant. He's one of our own chant, because he is a member of County Line Coalition, and he was out there in goal for Laguna United. So props to County Line Coalition for showing Jacob some love, even though he was on the opposing team. I know we've debated that a million times on the show. Do you show love to the opposing player? In this instance, they did, but it made sense. Larry, let me ask you this. When you see the starting lineup for this match for Orange County before the match starts, is there any concerns running through your mind of, man, we are putting up basically our best starting 11. Hopefully no one gets hurt.
Absolutely. And God, who was it that went down hard? Was it Chris? I think Haggart in the second half went down really hard and was holding his knee. And I was thinking, we've got Grayson Duty part 2, because Grayson got hurt in the AV Alta game last year, if I remember correctly. So yeah, that was a concern when I saw our starting 11. And I was keeping my fingers crossed down there on the sidelines going, oh, please don't let anybody go down in this game because we don't have enough depth. Orange County Soccer Club does not have enough depth to be losing a top tier player like a Chris Haggard or a Ryan Dogman for an entire season, for a year. We just can't do it. So fortunately, nobody did pick up any kind of major injury, and we got out of there. And we get to move on to the next round. That's the most important thing to me.
Dylan, you made a face when I asked Larry that question. Did you have a thought on that?
I can't believe we're still entertaining the let's hope people don't get injured in match. It doesn't. You have to play them, right? I mean, we don't have a second starting 11 to play in matches like this because we are also a team of largely people who are
Kids.
fresh out of high school.
Kind of.
And I don't, outside of an AV Alta, I actually don't think players are going into matches attempting to injure their opponents. So,
all right.
I'm just disappointed in you.
Brad, let me ask you this question. Were there any disappointments when you look at who Orange County put into the match in like the starting 11 and even the players that made an appearance? I have one that I was disappointed that I thought should have started the match, but I want to hear from you first before I give my thoughts.
Honestly, no, because at the end of the day, we still won our match for the weekend. Like, I'm being very results oriented with that comment, but I'm happy with everything. Escaped without injuries. Team got good experience together and beat an opponent that we should beat by a goal margin that we should beat them by.
Let me just share like my one gripe with the starting 11, and it's basically I felt like Tet Kadono should have started in the match. If he's going to get any play time, it's more than likely going to be early cup appearances before you're starting to play the big boys. Which you look at the next opponent in the cup, it's a USL Championship opponent. So really, this is probably the one opportunity that you have to put Tet in a moment where you could probably end up being guaranteed some success and give him some run, because at this point I don't know then where he's gonna jump in. Maybe the former Jägermeister Cup thing, I forget what it's called now. Last thoughts from you, Larry, before we move on.
Just again, I was very impressed with Jacob in goal for LUFC. He played a fantastic game, and he's going to be he'll be a classmate of Grayson's next fall at Irvine Valley College, and I want to wish him nothing but the best. And can we say the chant that they also did for him after they finished he's one of our own, or can we not say that on air?
Yeah, we probably prefer we don't say that one on there.
Yeah, probably.
But he had a big smile on his face. He turned around and he was smiling at the guys and gave a wave. So it was all in good fun. But Laguna had a good night, I think.
So Orange County's U.S. Open Cup run is going to continue on April 1st as they host Phoenix Rising FC. It's always awesome when they can host in the Open Cup instead of having to travel. Although we'll see if they can move past Phoenix Rising. Then you look at some of those MLS potential options, and there's 3 really good options that are within a local travel distance. And we all know that tends to be the thought process is the local travel for these earlier rounds. Orange County, wins in the Open Cup. They have to return over the weekend to USL Championship competition, and they were hosting Colorado Springs Switchbacks and their former goalkeeper, Colin Shuttler. I guess there were questions on whether it was going to be Colin Shuttler between the posts in this match, even I guess close to kickoff. That's at least what the broadcasters were saying on the stream, but he did make the appearance. I mean, obviously he had to make the appearance against his former team as long as he's healthy, right, Dylan?
Well, they debated this a bit on the match day commentary, but you do have a little bit more experienced goalkeeper within the club hierarchy. So as is what is common now, I think, is having kind of 2 starting goalkeepers, and you might have a rotation going throughout the year. I don't know where I stand on that issue, but thankfully it's not really one that we're dealing with here in Orange County. That being said, I'm sure it was probably nice for him to get to actually come back to Orange County, and ideally for those who were there, probably a little bit nice to sing for him, and then maybe sing against him a little bit too.
Brad, your thoughts on Orange County's performance against Colorado Springs? Again, a low-scoring match for Orange County, but in the end, ultimately in the end, all you have to do is score one more goal than the other team, regardless of how you played in a match. And Orange County did just that, is they scored a goal more than Colorado Springs to pick up the full 3 points. The first time they've done that this season, picking up the full 3 points in their first 3 matches. Your thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, Colorado Springs came in and played a very aggressive pressing style, and it worked very well against us. Team was turning the ball over, didn't really know what to do. We had one good chance all of the first half, and really one good chance the entire second half as well, which we scored that second half one. Other than that, Colorado Springs did a very good job of pressing against us, giving us trouble and not allowing us to really play out of the back like we typically did. In the weekly matchup recap, I did kind of cover up how the team did swap to a more crossy style in the second half. I don't know if we're covering the game by both halves, but I felt like the team had some mild success just kind of turning around and playing, second half, switch the ball from one extreme to the other extreme. But if we're going to want to win games in this league, we need to figure out how to beat the press, because we weren't unable to this game.
All right. Again, I'll stand by my comments. If you can hold your opponents to 0 goals or even 1 goal, you have put yourself in a good chance to get the 3 points, if not the 1 point. And so far in the first 3 matches in the league so far, that's exactly what Orange County has done. They've conceded no more than 1 goal in a match. And in the 3 matches, they have not lost yet. They've gotten a result in each match. Larry, I have a couple questions for you. This is about the sort of atmosphere at the stadium for a couple different things. First and foremost, we already talked about it, Colin Shuttler returning to Championship Soccer Stadium. What was the reception? What did you feel like the energy was with Colin Shuttler there? Were the fans happy to see him, although he's on the opposing team? Were they showing him love after the match? What did you see out from all of that?
After the match, he was shown some love. During the second half, when we were playing towards the when he was in the goal down by the scoreboard. There was a couple people behind me who were casuals who knew nothing, and they were saying some things that were incredibly derogatory. And I don't mind when people talk a little smack at somebody, but don't go into personal attacks on somebody who's been a stalwart for this team for 4 years and who I happen to be a very big fan of. So I turned around and I told him to shut up, and that, he had been here for 4 years and that they weren't going to be here in 15 minutes. So that kind of annoyed me. It sounded like the County Coalition, gave Colin his props. I did not hear them sing his song. I might have missed it at some point. Colin played Colin's game. He did what he does. There was some cheering from the fans. I know that his fiance was there. And yeah, he was. It's like when Aiden Quinn comes back to town. Before the game, Aiden, I love you. After the game, I love you. During the game, I can't stand you. I hate you. And then when that's done, we're back to being friends again. And it'll always be like that for any player who played as long as Colin did.
And I'm going to say this right now. I lied because I said 2 things for Larry. I have a third thing, and I know Larry likes to talk, so I'm sorry, Brad and Dylan. Larry, what was the reaction when Tyson Espy scored the game winner late in the match? I'm sure the fans in the know who, Tyson's a young kid, first goal for the club. What was the reaction that you saw in the stands in the stadium?
Well, it was down by the far end. So a lot less of our fans down there. It sounded like everything got really, really loud right there on the spot. And then, Tyson going and celebrating down in the corner. There was a lot of noise in the stands. people were very happy. A lot of people were very happy for him. You could see that the boys on the pitch with him, celebrating with him, were incredibly happy for him. I know his mom was over the moon because I talked to her after the game. It was a very fun moment when you watch this kid, because I was right there. I mean, I was 25 feet away from him when he put his foot through that ball and got it into the sorry, I was just reading something that somebody typed. It was just blown right by Colin. There was nothing he was going to be able to do to stop that. So it was good.
All right, one last thing, and I want to get a reaction from all three of you. So this won't just be Larry. Larry, you'll go last. I'm going to go to Dylan first. If anyone was watching the broadcast, I feel like the broadcasters were talking about, how the stadium and the pitch has always been superb at Championship Soccer Stadium. Thus, that's probably the reason why the U.S. men's team is choosing this as the venue for their training. We've all talked about in the past that sometimes the pitch isn't the greatest of quality out there. Dylan, what were your thoughts on that comment? And what do you notice when you watch the stream, at least from your end? Does it look better than what it's looked like in years past?
My gut is that is the pitch then not befitting of its hosts? It does look a little bit better. We've been playing on it for a few weeks. Let's see how it is. Thankfully, Nisa isn't doing its thing right now. So that helps with one less tenant on the grass in a given time, because there's been plenty of nights that the champ has featured back-to-back with the two kind of clubs playing. So that all helps. But, it's a far cry from the Tampas and the Sacramentos, where the grass is pretty much always in bad shape. I feel like San Antonio is usually not too good. We are blessed relatively with pretty fortunate fertile weather in comparison to much of the places in the league. And of course, we don't play on turf nor a baseball field. So that's always a nice thing for us.
Your quick thoughts on this, Brad?
About grass?
About the pitch. What do you think of the pitch so far this season?
It's playable. I don't know. The grass, something greener.
It's green.
Yep. It's better than watching what Larry likes to call stickball. I'd rather watch that continuously grow. Do I need to waste any more time talking about grass?
You don't. No, you don't. Okay, Larry, you're the only one really that has actually been on the pitch here at Championship Soccer Stadium. Have you noticed a difference this year?
Yeah, actually, I did. I mentioned that to Kerry the other day, that I feel like the pitch is in better shape than it has been in previous years. Of course, it's also still very, very early in the season, so that is subject to change. Down there in that far corner, when we're looking at the screen right now with the replay going, to down there in that right-hand corner, it's always a bit sandy and a bit crappy for the corner kicks. But it looks like they've gotten that cleaned up pretty well. So I'm pleased with how the pitch looks right now.
Awesome.
Subject to change at any time.
For those listening, Larry is talking about the southeast corner by the scoreboard.
Directions. I'm going to go through this final thoughts on this match. I'm going to ask each of you a different question on this. So unfortunately, you don't get to answer the same questions. Dylan, your final thoughts on this match. Is the result deserved for Orange County?
Yes. Sometimes both teams don't do very much, and you just have to do a little bit more. So go figure that you're in love with this result.
All right, Brad, why is Dylan wrong with his answer to that question?
I don't think Dylan's wrong with this answer. That was a wonder goal by Tyson Espy. Reading the comments after the game and the interviews where they're like, hey, what happened here? And he's like, I don't know, I blacked out, is the most common answer I think I've ever seen, and also the most frustrating, because I want to know, like, is it the Matrix? But instead I get the Hangover.
Perfect. Larry, do you agree with these two gentlemen or not?
I think Orange County earned their win. Do I think they deserved the win? I don't know. The first 15 minutes of the game, we looked great. After that, it was a lot of Colorado Springs offensively, and I was surprised when I saw what the possession at end of game was I think 52-48 Orange County. So did they deserve it? I don't know. Did they earn it? Absolutely. Tom Brewitt was absolutely fantastic all night. He had a couple of fantastic plays, and I like the way Alex Rando looked in goal for us. He had a couple of nice saves, and Colin didn't. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. Oh, look, there I am.
Perfect. Here, I'm going to ask this next question. We're going to sort of move on from this match, but it sort of coincides with this match because over the weekend, Orange County unveiled a new goal scoring song. So whenever Orange County scores a goal, a new song plays over the speakers. I don't know if you noticed it, Larry. It is a song that was written specifically for the goals that Orange County scores by a local band called the Jackknives. The song is called For County. You can go listen to it on your favorite music player. Larry, did you get a chance to hear? Because I think typically it's always been what Brohim or something like that plays when the goals are scored. Did you notice the different song playing, and what were your thoughts if you did hear it?
I absolutely did, and I really kind of dug it. It's got a nice kind of punky feel to it, even though that's not my style of music. But I like the words, I like the tune, and I had a chance to briefly talk to the guys in the band there on Saturday night. So yeah, I'm all for it. Keep it going. Let's play it a lot this year, or just one more time than the other team scores this year.
And for those of you listening or watching live on the social medias, if you let us know your thoughts, did you hear the song? Did you know anything about the Jackknives, or do you know anything about that band? And what are your thoughts on Orange County having a local band create a song specifically for them when they score goals? Let us know in the chats. Also, remember to like, share, subscribe this show wherever you listen to us, and also follow us on all social medias, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, X, or anything like that. We're more active on some than others, but follow us on those so you can get the sort of notice when we are doing a new show, or when our man Larry has a great post from the sidelines to share with you from the matches. So that's always great. Yes, and for those that don't know, we have our own private chat in the background. I'm already hearing some bashing from some of my fellow co-hosts about
Don't worry about
other teams that I follow.
Save it for other soccer news.
Let me ask you, Dylan and or Brad, have either of you heard, or did you even know that there was a new goal song for Orange County before we talked about it right this minute?
You could hear, okay, well, I guess I could hear that it was in fact not Brohim playing during the match, but I couldn't pick what it was. That being said, I did figure it was probably this. And much like having a Hummel kit that kind of commemorates county roads being a thing, this is kind of awesome. We are somewhat relevant and somewhat growing, which is, it feels like it wasn't that long ago. I mean, even when we started the show, that no one was really coming to these matches. And that's not to disrespect those of us that were actually at the matches those times. I met Larry that year. But now look at us. We have kits. We had enough owners' names to put them on a kit. Things have gotten, look at our stadium, right? Things have grown up quite a bit, and it's just a nice little thing. And it's nice to differentiate ourselves from the Ducks and from presumably like every NHL team and AHL team as well. Brohim might be one of the worst punk songs written. And I'm pretty fine with saying that. And let's be honest, they're not even from Orange County. Like Pennywise is not an Orange County band, so there was always going to be a better punk song. Anyway, that was a lot of rambling. Yeah, you're welcome, Ray.
No, thank you for I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because I agree with you. I think it's freaking amazing that we have a local band that has written a specific song for when we score goals. Maybe our next guest has heard that song at the stadium, and maybe he will get to hear that song a lot more. That guest is Kevin Partida, midfielder for your Orange County Soccer Club. Kevin, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm good.
I see you're enjoying the beautiful Southern California weather on this evening, which we are very lucky to be able to enjoy stuff like this year round. Kevin, what were your thoughts on both matches over this past weekend? Orange County actually a strong first showing in the Open Cup, and then following it up with a victory on a late goal against Colorado Springs. What were your thoughts on both those matches combined?
No, I mean, we're 3 games in, and we're sitting at 5 points. 5 points is it in the league? 2 wins and a draw, and to be into the next round of the Open Cup, I think it's a strong start.
And as someone that's been with the club for a decent amount of time now, you've experienced both the highs and the lows of how the season goes. And I know we're really early in the season. I know there's a lot of talk, with the Orange County fans about, we're not really scoring goals yet. And my argument is, hey, if we can stop the other team from scoring, it doesn't matter how many goals we're scoring. As long as we score 1 goal a match and we don't concede, we're great. What are your thoughts on that? Because you play sort of that midfield role, so you get to see both sides of the action a little bit there. Is it sustainable to play a very strong defensive lineup and concede a few amount of goals and be able to have a really successful season? Or is there something you want to see to get more goals?
No, it's funny. I was actually just thinking about that a few minutes ago. Every year is different, and just to get to experience a new year is like, you never know how it's gonna go. But to answer your question more uh, specifically, I think it's a great strategy, if you want to call it that. Um, I don't know how many teams in football in general are constantly conceding goals and having a lot of success. So, to just in my opinion of the way I see the game, you know, um, conceding as little goals as possible is almost, you know, always a recipe for success.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, Kevin. And it's great to have you here. And guys, I got to tell you, and Kevin, I have to remind you of something. A conversation you and I had a couple of years ago. After your first season in 22, we did our player grades, and I was not kind to you. And you're smiling because I think you remember the conversation that we had. It was either the next season or the season after that, and you reminded me of the grade that I gave you for your first season. Do you remember this conversation?
Yeah, it's funny. I was
I'm going to tell you right now, I was not your biggest fan at that time. However, after watching you for the last 4, now going into the 5th season with Orange County Soccer Club, I just want to tell you from a personal level what an absolute joy it is to watch the player you have grown into, the man you have become, the dad you have become, and the husband that you have become. It is absolutely inspiring, and I want to thank you for that and for staying with Orange County for so long. Ray is saying that I need to share what the grade was. Kevin, do you remember what grade it was that very first year?
first I want to say thank you, Larry. The feeling is very mutual. It's great seeing you at the stadium every weekend, and the relationship we've kind of built, fostered over the last couple of years, been really enjoyable. Was it an F?
No, it wasn't an F. It
Was it a D then?
It was
Yeah.
a D. It was a D. So yeah, but you have definitely improved vastly in my eyes. And please keep in mind that first year, that in 22, that was my first season being on the podcast. And frankly, I had no right giving anybody a grade on anything. But these guys made me do it, so it's their fault, Kevin. Listen, you have been part of some really big moments for Orange County Soccer Club. You were there in 22 for Milan Orlowski's Golden Boot season. You were there for Colin Shuttler's header goal in Sacramento to tie on opening night last year. End of the year last year, the penalty win in the playoffs. Where does Tyson's goal sit for you in some of the biggest moments that you've been a part of for Orange County?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think just being so fresh, maybe hasn't sunk in yet. But I think we'll be looking back at this, further down this season, and especially, later on. And yeah, I think we'll remember it as a special moment, for what it gave the team, and what I'm sure it meant to him. All those moments you mentioned, they're in the moment you're just happy to get a win. Um, but yeah, they're definitely, in the bigger picture, those are all memorable moments you mentioned.
Yeah. One other question for you, Kevin. Um, you are now in your fifth season with Orange County. You are actually, I don't know if you're aware or not, you are creeping up on the all-time appearances list for Orange County Soccer Club. We have 3 seasons in a row of being in the playoffs and getting to the second round and losing late, unfortunately. What will you consider a success for this season, your fifth season with Orange County Soccer Club?
But yeah, for sure, getting over that hurdle. Like you mentioned, and like we talked about earlier, and just earlier in the conversation, it's now going into my fifth year. I've experienced the lows of not being in the playoffs, and now highs of winning upset runs, and experience maybe being upset ourselves in a year when we were had a really good regular season and we're probably favored. So first step is to get ourselves a playoff spot as soon as possible and as early in the season as possible, and then um yeah, go from there. I mean, be nice to get, like I said, to get over that hurdle, and I mean, be in a championship game. That's where I think every player wants to be, and I mean, from there on, it's just anything can happen. You're 2 games away.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kevin. Always an absolute pleasure. Say hi to Miriam and the boys for me, and I'm going to turn it over to Dylan. He's got a couple questions for you, bud.
Likewise, Larry. Good to see you.
Kevin, first off, are you sitting under an orange tree right now?
I am. It's
Wow, the dedication. I'm just gonna imagine that you planted that when you came on down here, and
when they told me I was going to be on the podcast, I put it up.
quickly went and grabbed one. Yeah, yeah. You are one of the most senior players, if not, in fact, actually the most senior player on the squad this year, and the team is a little bit younger than it has been in years past. How has your role changed day to day in training with those changes?
No, I mean, not very much. I think we have been getting younger. Like you mentioned, especially the last couple of years. But I think you know I just try to be an example in the way that I train, and the way that I try to perform on a week to week basis when I get the opportunity. And everyone has a different way of I guess helping young players and or younger players, and that's the way I typically like to go about things. Not I guess help them with or teach them through action, and not so much through words.
Fair enough. I mean, it matters. It's probably a little bit better than you just yelling at them constantly. Away from the pitch, I think I've asked presumably about vegetables in the past, and this time, producer Andy, maybe not imploring me, but suggested that I maybe ask about other foods. So, are you a fan of a nice sweet treat? Is it a paleta? Is it nieves? What is your go-to when you're treating yourself?
Not very. I'm not very fond of sweet treats. Um, Trying to think of what I go for. What's considered kind of more of a dessert. I mean, I like a cheesecake. Um, and yeah, I mean, at a Michoacana store or something. Yeah, I'll go for a paleta more than the ice cream probably.
Fair enough. I do just want to thank you for saying that you're not a huge fan of sweet treats, and then saying that you do enjoy a cheesecake, which feels about like the most sweet,
Yeah, I mean,
possibly rich thing you could have.
it's not a monthly thing. It's probably pretty rare, but I mean, it's good stuff.
I won't tell any strength and conditioning staff. Don't you worry. Thanks, Kevin. Brad's got one for you.
Yeah, welcome back, Kevin. Thank you so much. one of the things, and I'll ask a fan question here that I like to focus on, is just knowing what your personal goals are for the season. Obviously, with you, I know you've been around. You're gonna eclipse the most minutes in team history this year. But what are your personal goals going into this year?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost are to stay healthy, and be available for as many matches as possible this year. And then it really turns into team goals more than anything. They're all a little bit intertwined, but I would say to stay healthy is probably my main goal. It's what I focused on in the off season as well. And it's probably a little bit boring, but then you can focus on just performing, as consistently as possible on a week to week basis.
All right, I got one more goofy-ish question for you. We like to joke around on the podcast, and we made one going into the opener of the season that you typically get a little bit more yellow cards than the average player. We had made a little bet about who would get the first yellow card of the opening match, you or Kyle Scott.
Oh
But
yeah, that was funny.
I'll go ahead and kind of change it up a little bit. I know you're currently on 0 this year. Obviously, like to have that stay as close to 0 as possible. But being the Vegas odds maker of the podcast, I'll set the over under at, we'll call it 7.5. Do you think you'll get more or less this year?
7.5 over the next 30 games.
Just regular season games.
Um, what? Do you have any idea what I've been at in previous years?
I can source that hopefully pretty quickly while you give your answer.
I've maybe gotten suspended once, and I want to say the suspension is maybe at around 5 or 6. Yeah, I'll stay under 7.5. I think I like my chances for that one.
All right. For the statistics, last year you had 6. The year prior you had 9. So I think 7.5 might be a little bit of a fair line.
Yeah, it is a pretty good line. No, I like it's trending down, so we'll keep it going that way.
All right. And before I hand you back over to Ray, I just want to wish you a very, very happy belated birthday. I know it was a couple weeks ago. Fellow 1995 baby here. So Ray, go ahead and take it back.
Oh,
Appreciate
you're
it.
making me feel old, Brad. You're making me feel old. Let me just say this, Kevin. The rest of my co-hosts like frown upon yellow cards like it's the worst thing ever. I am a fan of a good quality yellow card. If you're playing aggressive and getting a yellow card because you're being aggressive out there, I have no problem with it. Just don't get a second one. But I don't want you to like sort of back away from that Kevin Partida aggressiveness that makes you such a quality for us in Orange County that that don't back away from it just to not get those yellow cards. You get that 7th yellow card, 8th yellow card if you have to go over Brad's thing. If you're playing aggressive and being a good contribution to this team, because I love it. I prefer that. So just so you know, Kevin. And Brad sort of took a little bit away from my question, but I do want to know, like, who would have got the first yellow if both you and Kyle would have played the full 90 in that opening match?
Kyle for sure. Kyle would have lost it.
What are your thoughts? Like, what is it like? You and Kyle were a big part of Orange County's midfield for a couple of seasons there. What's it like when the teammate moves on to another team that you have to now face?
With the player of Kyle's quality, it's definitely tough. It's first you miss the person because as you mentioned, we were teammates and played a decent amount of minutes together over a couple of seasons, and you just build a relationship both on and off the field. So it's tough from that standpoint, and then to know that you're going to be facing up against them, a couple times in the season, it can be enjoyable, as a challenge, but at the same time, I mean, the kind of quality that he brings, so it's something you got to look out for.
All right, Kevin. And then just one last comment that I'm going to say here is we're going to keep track of those minutes. So once we know you're going to hit that 10K mark, I'll make sure Larry has a nice piece of cheesecake available for you to celebrate on the sidelines. We can go to get an Instagram story with that. You can just scarf that thing down in celebration, and that'll be courtesy of our show. Kevin, any last words to the fans, whether they're listening live or listening in the future on the podcast format?
No, I know it's early in the season, but it's an exciting start, and We hope to give them more moments throughout the year, and yeah, we love playing in front of them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just so you know, Dylan, I didn't fact check Dylan, but he said we're on a good pace if you keep up this points pace on the season. So, hey, keep it up. Score just one goal. Just don't concede a goal. That works for us. You get the points. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kevin Partida from your Orange County Soccer Club. Great player for the team and a great guest on the show. Thank you, Kevin, for spending some time with us. And best of luck to you and the fellow teammates this weekend.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you.
See you, Kevin.
Thank you. Well, there we go. Kevin Partida, an amazing guest, a fun portion of this team. I know the fans love him. And I know Dylan, Brad, Larry, you disagree with me when I talk about it. I love a good yellow card. As long as you don't get a second one in a match, I love it. I want the aggressiveness. I want the physicality. And unfortunately, what comes with aggressiveness and physicality are some yellow cards, and that's what happens. Brad, Dylan, you're making a face.
Yeah, I definitely am. Yes, sure. Sometimes they're helpful. However, we've watched plenty of avoidable yellows be given to Orange County players throughout the years. One that comes to mind is often Darwin Jones picking up a second yellow to what he believed as he needed to drag the guy down from the halfway line because they were counterattacking. He served a suspension for that, and we probably had it in control. I mean, if Darwin Jones is dragging somebody down and it's not a set piece, it's probably okay. Seem the same. Him being available and not serving suspensions is probably the best case scenario since he's the most senior experienced member of the club at this point. And to his point, if he's making all this effort and to be healthy, we should probably make sure that he's not missing out 1 in 3 games for picking up a whole bunch of yellow cards. So
yeah, I agree with Dylan. There's a difference between a stupid yellow card and a Rob Kiernan game saving drag down of a player in Colorado Springs that we ended up winning in penalties.
And that was actually technically a red card too, so it's not even a good example.
I said red, but I'm just saying there's a good thing like a tactical foul and a stupid you got yourself a yellow because you're an idiot bonehead move.
So Orange County is going to be looking to keep the momentum going. Now, 2 victories in a row, 1 in the Open Cup, 1 in the league, also undefeated in the league season, but they have a tough match this weekend as they travel up north to the Bay Area as they face Oakland. Roots, a tough opponent always, regardless of records. I think Oakland's always a tough opponent. We reached out to Peter Bloom from Roots blog to get a little information on this, and we're going to sort of break this down. So let's go.
This is Peter Bloom from Roots blog. The first question he gave me was 15 minutes into the match, what makes you know that it's going poorly for the Roots? I think the answer is if possession and particularly if threat generation is even, then things are probably not going well for the Roots based on how the season has gone so far. I mean, obviously, if the Roots are trailing, it's silly to say that that things are, things will be going poorly if Orange County score first, obviously. But we don't really know what the Roots look like under Ryan Martin when they're chasing. And really, they've dominated possession, they've dominated threat in 2 of their 3 games, basically until they broke the deadlock in their favor, at which point they've sort of retreated some and played more defensively. It's a little unclear how to evaluate the New Mexico game in that regard because the Roots scored so early. And New Mexico are also probably the best of the 3 teams that the Roots have faced so far. And so the Roots just sat back and absorbed pressure for 80 minutes or something after they scored first against New Mexico. But they could do that. They already had the goal that they needed. So I think if things are even through 15 minutes, then it's going to be just a very different looking game than the Roots have seen so far. And even in terms of threat creation.
So I'm going to go to Brad. Your thoughts on Peter Bloom's thoughts on that question. It's a typical question we ask our guests that cover other teams. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, 15 minutes into the game, if Orange County is able to replicate what they did last week against Colorado Springs, getting an early goal. Although I know we didn't score 15 minutes in, we had a really good shot 4 minutes in that Scheller saved. If we could replicate that going into the next couple weeks, good early start, get the opponent on the back end, I do think good things will happen and we'll win more games.
Dylan or Larry, do y'all have a response to that, or do we want to move on to the next question we asked Peter Bloom?
I did forget that they picked up Ryan Martin over the winter, and to be honest, I guess technically it was the fall. I think it was November. I at first got him confused with Russell Martin, the much maligned former Rangers and Southampton manager, and then I remembered that Ryan Martin always wears a hat and a polo shirt. So if there was ever a reason that we definitely need to win on Saturday, it's the fact that we need to beat a club that is run by a guy who wears collared shirts with baseball caps. Just when we hit about the big things that matter, it's the crimes like LAG for Laguna United and wearing baseball caps on the sidelines of a soccer field.
And once again, this was Peter Bloom from Roots Blog. The website is oaklandrootsblog.com if you want to hear or see more from him. We asked 2 more questions. Let's get to question number 2.
Question, what players will be important for a Roots victory? If I can pick 3 here, I think that you would assume Peter Wilson, the Golden Boot winner, we expect him to be out on international duty. So I think in attack, the player that's going to be key is Danny Trejo. Who I think with Wilson absent is going to be responsible for both the creative work and also goal scoring. And then we're really looking at the midfield. Bobasi Biaranga has been just tremendous for Roots this season. He was on the team of the week after the New Mexico game. He is crucial in both attack and defense, and knitting those 2 things together. Pops up all over the field. And then finally, Tommy McCabe, who is not flashy, but he's Ryan Martin's guy. He was the first signing that Martin brought over from Loudoun when he came over in the offseason. McCabe dominates touches. I mean, he just always has the most touches for the Roots. The pattern of play that the Roots do is the center backs give the ball to McCabe. And McCabe surveys the field, and he'll recycle to the center backs and buy some time if he needs to. And then he's the one who sort of decides where the play is going to happen up the field.
Yeah, so I just, side note, I wonder if Peter did that on purpose, mentioning Tommy McCabe there as an important player for this match. For any long-time Orange County Soccer Club fan, Tommy McCabe once played for us and did those things for us. Larry, we're going to go opposite here. Who's important? Give me one important player for Orange County this match for Orange County to be successful.
Ethan Zubak. He's got to open his account this weekend. We are in game 4. We can't wait until he gets to game 11 or 12. It took him quite a while last year to open it up, so need to open it up this weekend.
If you're not watching the video of this show, we've got both Dylan and Brad showing off their Tommy McCabe Orange County kits on the stream. So again, important player for OC during his time. Brad, who's important for Orange County now that Tommy McCabe's not there anymore?
I'm going to say new man in the building, Alex Rando. He just got his first clean sheet for the team, worked medium hard for it. I wouldn't say it was like a freebie, but he did make some saves. It's obviously clear that the team's not going to score very many goals unless Ethan Zubak can open his account. So keeping as little goals on the score sheet for the other team is going to be very important.
What about you, Dylan?
First off, just want to shout out Brad. I thought he was going to say mediocre, like Philip Mediocre, famous, USL not goal scorer against Orange County. I do think it's Ethan Zubak's match to make his stamp on 2026. I do think he's going to be the key here. Nabil Hackshaw is still with Oakland and is still a very good defender. I feel like if that matchup can be exploited a little bit, Orange County will have some success, and he'll be a little bit fresh because he only played about half hour. Hackshaw only played about a half hour over the weekend. And while we talk about Tommy McCabe, I do just want to point out that if you were watching, it's Mick and then Cabe, like 2 separate words, and then Brad's is apparently all one word. So, it wasn't that long ago that this was the state of the club, and now look at us. We have our own goal song.
Oh, that's awesome. Here we go. I'm going to say this. Muhammad Uwar, I want to see something out of him this week. I think it's an important piece. He's don't give me. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm seeing something different, but he's been very solid at his defensive role this season, which is awesome to see for someone that used to be mostly an attacker. I want to see him get involved. I feel like he had a solid performance against Colorado Springs. I think he's growing into this role, and I think he's just going to keep growing into it. And we've just seen the beginning of Mo War, and I want to see a breakout here against Oakland. Peter had one more question that we asked him, and he responded to. Let's get that.
What is one of the Roots' strengths this year and one of their areas of concern? I've mentioned it twice, so I have to say the strength is the midfield right now. In addition to McCabe and Bobasi, Faisal Batache has been tremendous. He's playing in the more central attacking midfielder role, but he comes back and picks up the ball deep. He helps create overloads in the midfield. He has a tendency to sort of spring Bobasi into attack, as you'll see if you look at the Roots' first goal against Phoenix. He sort of allows, he holds the ball in a way that allows Bobasi to sort of spring forward, surprising the defense. And so I think that Patache is the other sort of key ingredient so far in the midfield. And he's not even necessarily supposed to be the starter in that role, although I suspect he will keep finding the field. Florian Valo has not appeared for the Roots yet this season. I don't know that we should expect to see him against Orange County, which isn't based on any particular knowledge, just that he hasn't even been on the bench. Areas of concern, one of is probably attack conversion, which is hard to say. When the Roots have scored 5 goals in 3 games, that's a much better return than they're certainly used to. But they have created a bunch of chances that they haven't finished, and that really bit them against Phoenix, and it made things much nervier against Monterey Bay and against New Mexico than they needed to be, given how the Roots had dominated those games, or at least dominated New Mexico, Monterey Bay. So I think that that's an area of concern, and maybe of a special concern with Wilson missing. Jackson Keel, I think we would expect to fill that role, and he is unproven at the USL level, although I think folks in the organization are optimistic about him. And then potential concern is the Roots' susceptibility to sort of fast-breaking attacks. I think that New Mexico's goal and then the 2 Phoenix goals that they scored in the last 10 minutes to sort of evaporate the Roots' 2-goal lead, both came on quick passages of play that seemed to catch the Roots' otherwise strong defense out of position and on their heels. So I think that that's probably the biggest area of concern for the Roots right now. Anyway, thanks for having me on.
And as always, I want to say thank you to Peter Bloom for taking the time to record the video for us. We would have invited him on the show, but we didn't quite know how the timing would work out, and we didn't want to disrespect him with any rush on his time on the show, because we know everyone's time is valuable. With that said, I do want to do predictions for this match from each of y'all. I'm going to go to Brad first. Your prediction for this match against Oakland Roots?
Other than just hoping everyone has a good time, I think it's going to be 1-1.
1-1 from Brad. Larry, your prediction?
I got to agree with Bradley on this one. I guess that makes me a heel for the night. 1-1.
Dylan?
I hope everybody has a bad time on Saturday. No, in all seriousness, I do think this one's going to be 1-1. Peter did mention that they look susceptible to conceding on fast breaks, but Oakland also plays, how do I put, the county of Alameda Coliseum, or whatever its technical name is these days, is not exactly a long pitch by any stretch of the imagination. So it will be hard to kind of stretch their back line and, make the most of Mo War's pace. So I don't see us really lighting this one up.
I think the more important question is, will they pack the house this weekend? My prediction for the match is 1-0 Orange County. I think we're going to continue the low scoring. And as long as we score 1 goal more than the other team, we're good to go. With that said, it's time to wrap things up. We're going to go through and we're going to do a what did you learn this episode, or a random thought. You can choose what you want to do. I'm going to go to you first, Brad. What do you want to share?
I learned that Tottenham is certainly going down, and there's really nothing that they can do other than kick and scream, which sucks because Richarlison is the best pigeon that has ever pigeoned, but y'all's manager, may his father rest in peace, sucks.
Ooh, that's harsh. That is
What a
harsh,
line.
Brad.
The time. His father rest in peace. He sucks.
Can we
They did
clip
announce
that
the-
and share that on socials? That's going to make you the ultimate villain, Brad.
Go for it.
Larry.
Learned that Kevin Partida can actually hit that 10,000th minute as soon as this weekend. So that means if he does, I've got to have some cheesecake at our next home game.
There you go. There you go. Dylan, random thought, or what did you learn?
Yeah, mostly I just want to say that Brad can't be the ultimate villain when Tottenham fans were imploring their own side to lose against Man City a couple seasons ago to not hand Arsenal the title. So they are unfortunately their own greatest enemy in that regard. Honestly, it is very random. I'm just pleasantly surprised to see that Kevin Partida has an orange tree in his front yard. It's the man has settled. We'll put it that way.
So
Settled
Dylan
in. He's not settling.
Dylan's basically saying Tottenham fans are lit, the band from back in the days, my own worst enemy. I hope I got that right. Maybe I didn't. Who knows?
You did. You're good.
I did. I shouldn't second guess myself. I have two quick things I want to say. First, I want to say it's cute. Dylan and Brad, so excited to show off their Tommy McCabe jerseys. They look like little excited, like Christmas morning or Hanukkah, one of the Hanukkah gifts they're bringing out. Oh, look what I got. And they're showing off what they have there. Secondly, Dylan, you made our listeners that are rather new to Orange County Soccer Club go and be like, wait, who is this Darwin Jones this guy is talking about? They're going to researching who that is right now because of you, Dylan, because there might be quite a few newer fans that have no idea who Darwin Jones is.
I think he's the only Orange County Soccer Club player to ever have run a marathon in under 3 hours. And this will commence a very pointless search. Oh, Larry's telling me I'm wrong, which means that Kevin Alston also managed. I don't know if Ugo.
I don't think it's sub 3 hours. I think it was. I think both of them did just a little over 3 hours.
I'll start searching.
Start searching everybody.
Why
And if
mad at
Dylan
me?
is wrong, if Dylan is wrong on this, call him out on social medias. Tag us on your tweet, Instagram post, Facebook post, whatever it is. Tag the podcast and let us know Dylan was wrong. I want to thank everyone that participated in this episode, including my fellow co-hosts, Dylan, Larry, Brad, Wendy, who Brad is trying to pick up to showcase on the show. Our two guests that participated, Kevin Partida, midfielder for Orange County Soccer Club, and Peter Bloom from Roots Blog. That's at Oakland. That's the website, oaklandrootsblog.com, plus producer Andy and the Tommy McCabe jerseys. Hey, it's been a big show. We had fun. This has been the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.